mind, go check out the next video. Shout out to Mr. Shout out to Staley, shout out to Alex, shout out to Sketch, shout out to Coral, shout out to Sub-Zero Exabyte, shout out to Xander Brown, shout out to Steam Eagle, shout out to Daphne Red Panda, shout out to Funtime Mac. I don't know his name channel, but go subscribe to all of them. Alright. You would not be loved if you died, just joking.
Earth, so maybe one of them is taking off in the middle of the night to try to find Thanos, go off on his own, or maybe they're just, sick of sitting around moping, or maybe these four are walking up to the arrival of someone or something, like maybe Stark and Nebula returning to Earth on the Benatar, or maybe Captain Marvel arriving, or maybe one of the many cosmic entities that we've speculated might engage in some kind of divine intervention with the Avengers, characters like the Living Tribunal or Eternity or Kronos. Now, judging from their clothes, this shot is taking place around the same time Cap and Natasha saw that video feed of Scott Lang at the front gate. Maybe they're walking out to the gate to greet Scott so that they can find out where the hell he's been or when the hell he's been. Check out my earlier breakdown for my theory of how time travel could play a role in this. And there might be something else that we missed in this shot, but I want to talk more about that later. For now, on to the next clip. Okay, so this last section begins with a quick shot of Rocket coming through a door. Now, a few things here. First, look at his outfit. Rocket's new clothes are the blue buttoned jumpsuit that he wears in the 2008 Guardians of the Galaxy comics, ones by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. But more importantly, some clues in the background might tell us where he is. There's a rocky coastline and some lobster traps lying around. To me, this suggests this is somewhere in the northern Atlantic. My guess, Norway. The reason I think that is there's another shot in this section showing Thor in some structure facing some steep green hills. Some have suggested he could be on Titan 2, the planet Thanos was on at the end of Infinity War, maybe in or near Thanos' farmhouse, or maybe Thor's in Wakanda. But I think Rocket and Thor are in the same place, and that Thor has exiled himself somewhere on this Norwegian coast, because that is the homeland of Norse mythology, and it's the location where his father Odin died. And maybe here, Rocket has tracked down Thor to beg him to come back, or maybe Odin's son and Rabbit are staying teamed up after Infinity War to search for Thanos on their own, because they're stubborn and they refuse to give up. So the two of them shack up in this lobster hut in Norway. We also see Natasha venting some steam on a firing range in Avengers HQ. On the right, you can see she's already shredded through the bullseye on one of them, and she's working her way down. But notice how her hair is tied in a braid, and it's much longer than the length that we saw in other shots. For it to grow from that to this, it would take at least 6 months, according to my girlfriend, who knows more about these things than I do. Maybe longer than 6 months. Look, it is hard to gauge the timeline here, but for Liberty Island to turn into a shipyard, for post-snap support groups to start up, and Black Widow to grow braid, I think there's a good chance we'll see some time jump, maybe 6 months later. But again, if time travel or parallel timeline jumping comes into play in this movie, hair length might not indicate anything. There's also this shot of Ant-Man and Rhodey suiting up in Avengers HQ. So this tells us that Scott will end up with them in the present, regardless of whether or not the video feed was archive footage, but also that some kind of action will heat up right from the Avengers home base. Also, this looks like new War Machine armor. Remember, Thanos disabled the armor that Rhodey used in Infinity War, and while he could still walk around in it, it wouldn't be an effective weapon unless Banner or Rocket helped him repair it, or unless Stark left behind an upgrade for him. This could also be how Pepper Potts gets a suit of armor, like the one that we've seen Gwyneth Paltrow wearing in set photos. We also briefly see Hawkeye. He looks like he's in some kind of crash site crater. Like, you can see smoke and crumbling debris. Maybe the red light on his face is from a vessel that crashed there. Maybe it's whatever the other Avengers were looking up at in that other shot. Clint also appears to be feeling feels. And next, there's this close-up of Cap tightening his shield. A few things here. First, Cap has his old shield back. Remember, he hasn't had it since his fight with Stark in Civil War, and even then, that was a newer upgrade with magnetic controls, if I remember correctly, whereas this one looks to be the classic one with leather straps. In Spider-Man Homecoming, remember, Happy Hogan did mention Stark was working on a new shield for Cap, but this one doesn't look like a new prototype. It's a relic. We'll see, but this could be another clue pointing toward Cap going retro and fighting his old battles, maybe through some form of time travel. But notice his dirty, trembling hand. Very dramatic. This reminded me of another Spielberg shot, also of a World War II soldier, the recurring close-up in Saving Private Ryan, showing Tom Hanks' shaking hand. It was a way of expressing the character's humanity, despite his steady outward demeanor. So I'm guessing that this shot could be from Cap's final bout with Thanos. Perhaps something like the face-to-face fight that they went through in the Infinity Gauntlet comics. And next we get a very interesting shot of the heroes marching through Avengers HQ as the sun rises. There's Cap, Thor, Black Widow, Rocket, Ant-Man, War Machine, and right behind Rhodey, Banner. But what's weird to me is that we already saw this same shot, same framing and everything in the last trailer, except the room was empty. So why would they shoot the same shot twice, once with actors and once without? It could be a lot of reasons, but I have two theories. First, maybe this is just one of many examples of footage shown in a trailer that ends up getting re-edited or dropped in the final cut of the movie. Like that one big Avengers Assemble shot from the Infinity War trailer that was never in the movie at all. Like they might have a lot of versions of this shot because they have a lot of CGI to do on it. Like obviously Rocket had to be CGI inserted. But notice that gap in the line between Scott and Rhodey. Will the Russos later digitally insert another character in there? Like maybe Hawkeye? And coming back to that shot on the lawn earlier, notice the empty space between Banner and Rhodey. Does Rhodey just not like walking next to other people? I mean, sure, sometimes you just gotta walk off a fart, right? Or maybe the Avengers plan to insert Hawkeye, or another character like Captain Marvel, or Pepper Potts in rescue armor, or some other new character, something spoilery, in those empty spaces in the final cut. Okay, so that's theory one. Theory two is that this dolly shot is telling more of a story than we realize. Look at the position of the sun. It's a bit higher in the first trailer shot, the one without people in it. And that shot is also moving to the left, as opposed to this one, which is moving right. Could the different positions of the sun and the different camera movements be important clues here? Look, there's been a lot of evidence pointing to some kind of cosmic displacement for these heroes. Like traveling back in time, traveling to a parallel reality, traveling somewhere. This displacement could be connected to the devices that we've seen on the Avengers' hands and set photos. Imagine that these two sunrise shots are actually part of the same moment. The camera follows the Avengers as they march across the room right as the sun rises, and then they disappear or displace back in time into another reality somewhere. Then, as they disappear, the camera dollies back across the now empty room. Then, after their displacement, they march back into this moment at the end of their journey. Maybe different characters are with
What? Oh.
It would be like if you're in Back to the Future and you're just another character standing in the Twin Pines Mall parking lot and you see Marty McFly drive the DeLorean out of what we hear during this shot.
Not us.
Now this is kind of weird because we already heard Cap say "not us" earlier in the trailer.
Some people move on, but not us.
So why would Cap say "not us" twice? For dramatic effect? Like Switch's final words in The Matrix?
Not like this. Not like this.
Yeah, dramatic effects, possibly, probably. But listen again to the two back to back. They're different.
But not us. Not us.
Yeah, see, the second "not us" has got to be more than just an echo. Like it sounds deeper, more of a growl. You, if those empty spaces with a platform that you control, that Wix has you covered, build your.
Alright guys, I'm just gonna go.
Come on, Bruce. Time to remind everyone your parents are dead. Wait, where are you going?
I'm sad. Dream sequence. Don't forget, my name is Martha. Good thing I landed on all of this rock.